Hey YouTubers, this is Marko again with Marko Custom Models. We're just doing a video. I'm just going to do a video here on my 1970 Monte Carlo bodied NASCAR, which a lot of you would know as Nascarlo if you've seen Roadkill. The car kind of inspired me to do a model. I like cars that are film cars, and as you saw in my last video with the Ace Ventura Pet Detective car. That one there is in a movie, and I like doing stuff like that. Like I'm working on a Gone in 60 Seconds, the original, and at the end of the movie all beat up and things like that. So anyway, this is a car that'll have to get some weathering and treatment to try and get it close to the way it is on Roadkill. I don't know if I'm going to go quite that direction. I haven't quite decided. It's sort of at a standstill. I was thinking maybe do it as the Roadkill car, or like what if I were to build it, would I just keep it straight, maybe all one color? And anyway, I just wanted to see what you guys think, maybe give you some feedback on what direction I should take it. I'm having fun building it. The thing about the Roadkill car, they have a different sort of wheel on it. It's like a cast car wheel, and it has the wide 5 bolt pattern and things like that. So I may have to make a wheel if I want it to look like the Roadkill car, because that would just bug me if I couldn't get it to look right. These are just those deep dish Dodge wheels that come in the police car that's been released as a goon car, or this particular one came out of the Dukes of Hazzard. And I also cast these wheels as well because I quite like them. I use them on a lot of things. Yeah, so let me get into it here. I'll just take the hood off so it doesn't fall. Just the standard hood. Yeah, I used a NASCAR chassis out of it was a Ford Thunderbird NASCAR, an older one from the 80s. I got to put a Chevy power plant in it. It's a little bit of a different chassis than what they actually used on the Roadkill car, but to sit there and get all that right would be quite a bit of work. So this one was put together, working on it with the Plastic Magic, so the chassis nice and strong. I'll be able to spray all this and get it all colored right. It's not a big deal. I drilled it so there's a steel axle in the front, and in the back it came with that. So I'll have to go through the block as well when I do it. I'm gonna separate this here. So there's the chassis. It's like I say, the NASCAR chassis out of the Ford Thunderbird race car from the 80s there. The couple of changes, I cut out some webbing on the side they had in the NASCAR chassis, because that's what they did in the show, both on the driver's and passenger side. This bar was came forward and sort of protruded through the corner of the windshield. And I got the wrong gauge in here. I'm going to snip this out. I want to get some styrene that's the same size as the side here, so it's a little bit thick. I could get away with just keeping it too. I'll see what I can find. If I can't, then I can always just make that look like maybe it's padded or something like that. This bar here in the TV show car goes at a diagonal, so I thought about changing that, even though the rest of the floor pan and all of that stuff is not really exactly like in the show, but some of the stuff like the alternator on the rear end is, and I think they got a quick change rear end in their car. I'd have to go back and not 100% sure, but anyway, I'm not going to really make a lot of fine detail changes to make it exact, but it's just a representation. A lot of people know what it is when they see it. The body is modified. I had to shorten it. I took it out, took the out of the door just like they did in the show. That's where I cut it and shortened it. I drilled the hole for their exhaust system. I took the trim off the bottom. I had to radius the wheel wells. The corner marker lights, I still have holes to put for the rear corner lights that are not there. Yeah, I drilled out the headlights here. I got to put them in. What else can I talk about on this body that's interesting? Yeah, the wheel well openings. I use this flat styrene you can buy, and I was able to curve that, and then glue it, and then I used a lighter and heated it up and then bent it in and then glued it down again, and then took the sandpaper and the hobby knife and trimmed them up so there's a little bit of a lift, because on the car they bent the sheet metal out so it wasn't a sharp edge against the tire. So I'm just trying to duplicate and replicate what they did on the show, and it actually creates a nice look, and by doing this it's given me ideas for other things down the road. So it's kind of neat when you try things. Stuff like this kind of makes you push the envelope sometimes, and stuff you haven't tried before. It's always good to do that. Yeah, I kind of like the way that turned out. I got a lot more to do to it, but got the basics of it and sort of stalled on where to go. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. Goes back together, fits together quite nice, got it lined up pretty good. So yeah, so that's my take on the Nascarlo, and if you want to leave comments below, I'd love to read them and see what you think, get your feedback. And if you like my channel, please subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day.